The emptiness in your life isn't because you don't have enough rights. You have all the rights there are. You have more than you should. And it isn't because you lack consumerist options. You have Amazon and pornography, man. You can get whatever you want whenever you want it. And if that's still not working, well, what are you missing? Well, maybe you're missing the opposite of that. A little bit of restraint, a little bit of sacrifice, some responsibility. If I could get what I wanted and if I could avoid responsibility, why not lie? And the first answer is, well, what makes you so sure you want to avoid responsibility except narrowly in this moment, because it's not a good medium to long-term strategy and everyone knows it. And what makes you think that manipulating people in the short term so that you can gratify a whim is going to be a useful iterative strategy? It's like it's not. So you can dispense with that. And so what do you do when you tell the truth? Instead, is you predicate your actions on an axiom of faith, which is that nothing better can happen than that which happens if you live in truth. And that's a statement of deep religious faith, because the evidence for that can only be gathered as a consequence of manifesting the actions that are predicated upon that axiom of faith. You don't know till you lay it out. What's most real might be what's there when the times are hardest. That's how you define the reality of a friendship or a love affair. That's a different concept than, the material is what's real. It's like, no, what's real is what sustains you through the worst catastrophe. And you might say, well, there's nothing there. It's like, well, that's one perspective. Your catastrophe is going to be pretty damn grim if that's your a priori attitude, that nihilism or maybe the hedonism that goes along with it. You're not going to be very well protected when the storms rise.
If you take people and you expose them voluntarily to things they are avoiding and are afraid of, that they know they need to overcome in order to meet their goals, their self-defined goals. If you can teach people to stand up in the face of the things they're afraid of, they get stronger. And you don't know what the upper limits to that are, because you might ask yourself, if for 10 years, if you didn't avoid doing what you knew you needed to do, by your own definitions, right, within the value structure that you've created, to the degree that you've done that, what would you be like? Well, what do people go watch when they go see a movie? They watch a romantic adventure. Well, why? Because that's what they want in their life. They don't want peace and tranquility and guaranteed basic income and the pleasures of gratified infantile dependence. They want a bloody adventure. And if they don't get a real adventure, they'll take a false one and wreak havoc. And we have no shortage of false adventures in our culture.
People are ugly. People are nasty. They make me want to choke the shit out of them. And they're just nasty people. So I stay away from them. You can fucking achieve the absolute impossible. You don't need great parents. You don't need like a private school. You don't need to have this humongous GPA and all this other shit. What you need is the one thing I talk about in my book, which is straight up brutal work ethic. You have to be willing to outwork everybody in the world.
One thing in life, this applies to everything in life. Anytime you move from being normal to trying to be exceptional, people aren't gonna like that shit. Those normal people, it makes them feel like shit, so they'll judge you. And nowadays, it's very easy to be a fucking coward. Why? We got Instagram and shit. Most folks don't tell you to your face. They go online, they post about like cowards. Don't let cowards get in your fucking head. And last thing, make sure you do you, stay hard.
On the journey, there's always be that motherfucker in the sewer you came from that's grabbing at your fucking ankle as you're leaving that sewer. That's when it drag you right the fuck back down because you figured it out.
Fuck people. One thing you have to learn early in life. I didn't learn this till later on. I don't give a motherfucker. You can't care what anybody thinks about you. If I care what people thought about me, you think I'd be yelling out here, doing a 105-pound ruck, talking shit? This is who I am. Find out who you are, whoever that may be. I don't give a fuck what you are. Find out who you are and own that motherfucker and tell people to go fuck themselves. Don't ever worry about anybody and what the fuck they think about you. You do that, I guarantee you, your life will be in shambles. You will become the biggest bitch of all time.
People have talent. People have a lot of talent. And this is going beyond your talent. So when there's no more talent, what happens to you? most people quit. People only go to their talent level. And once their talent level is gone, it becomes a mental game. That the whole mental game sets in then. And most people can only perform to their talent. And they realize, man, why am I always messing up right here? Why is this like my big hurdle? It's because you're performing to your talent. And then after that, your mind has nothing for you. Nothing for you. I see fighters, I see runners, I see people who they're great, but they get to the edge of their talent. It's like, fuck, man, what's up? Because you're now at the point now where your talent ain't gonna do shit for you, my friend. Now it's the mental game. And that's where people get lost in life, get lost in that next level. And that next level is found for me in the things that I do. I'm just misunderstood.
When I was going through Navy SEAL training, there's one thing I told myself. I wanted to quit every single day. But many dreams die while suffering. And many of us out here have suffered. And when you're suffering, I'm not talking about just physically. I'm talking about emotionally, spiritually. It could be a relationship. When you're suffering, you give up on the very things that you wanted the most. When I was going through pararescue, I wanted to be a pararescueman so bad. But that water haunted me. So when the suffering got too much, my dream died. And pretty much I almost died with it. If I didn't find Navy SEALs and getting past that hump and overcoming my demons and facing my demons every day, I would have never been up here today. You can't outrun your demons. They'll always know where you're hiding. Trust me at that. And I'm gonna end with this. Don't stop when you're tired, stop when you're done.
What separates me from a lot of people is they go into a daunting task, and the task is overwhelming. Like when I heard the pull-up record was 4,020 pull-ups, and I was talking about breaking this record, people are like, oh my God. I went right to a pen and paper. They go, what are you doing? I'm doing the math, man. What are you talking about? I'm open-minded to the fact that, okay, if I do 5 pull-ups in a minute for so many hours, I can get so many pull-ups in. How much time do I have to rest? I was breaking the math down. You have to be open-minded to the possibilities that I can do this. Once you shut your mind down to the possibility that it can be achieved, there's no way it can happen. So that's why my eyes and my body light up about things, because I know that if you're in a fight, you have to attack. You have to keep attacking. The enemy has to know he is not going to give up. You must break the soul of whatever the fuck is in front of you.
Never give up on your financial goals until you achieve your financial goals. There's people in this room, folks, that are going to be worth billions of dollars. There's a billionaire in this room right now. I'll guarantee you. Could be 2 or 3 of them. Billionaires in the making right here, okay? Question is, who's it going to be? Now, if somebody in this room, how many believe this? If somebody in this room made a decision, I'm going to put together $1 billion. How many believe that's possible? Everybody in the room believes it's possible. You might not think it's possible for you, but you know it's possible. Which means what? The money's available. Would you do good things with that $1 billion? Okay, you know that about yourself. You don't know about the guy sitting next to you. You know that about yourself. So you know somebody could do it, and you know if you did it, you'd do good things with it, right? So go do it, man, because the money's out there. There's plenty of it. And I grew up with a little 4'11" Italian lady that knew nothing about money. She just knew, hold on, clip coupons, save your money. How many were brought up like that? Penny saved is penny earned. Save for a, see, you were brought up the same way I was. Eat all your food. If you don't eat it all, save it, put it in the refrigerator, right? Some of you got food in your refrigerator right now, 3 and 4, 5 days old. You have no intention of eating it. Some of you got like 1/8 of a bagel left from 5 days ago. Right now you're like, oh, it's in there right now. You got ice cream in your freezer that's like 6 months old. It's expired twice. It's got that much frost on it, but you got 1 bite left. I know it's still good. You tell your kids this too. You pass on the same bull to your kids. Eat all your food, eat all your food, eat all your food. And then you wonder why we got obesity problems in America. We live in a country that's rich, and the people have scarcity in their minds.
Nothing's really happened, by the way, in these recessions. Nothing's really changed. It's just an illusion that somehow, oh my God, there's no money now. No, the money's still there. Nothing's really changed except everybody's mindset. Everybody still has to eat. They still have to wear clothes. They still have to travel. They still want to have sex and procreate and have fun and go to the movies. And everybody wants to do the same stuff. You still got 8 billion people on the planet growing every day. The thing is, there's fewer people going for it. This is what I always say, man. There's an abundance amount of money on planet Earth and a shortage of people going after it.
And this is the perfect time for
This is
people
it.
to go all out.
Bro, this is it, because what happens if you 10x your efforts for just short periods of time, maybe 6 or 8 or 9 months, and start building out a new network of people, what happens is people are going to back out. And you're going to look up and you're going to be like, there's only 3 or 4 of us on the field. Like, there's only going to be a handful of people playing the game. Everybody else is just, oh, I'm grateful. You know, we're better off than the Pakistanians and the Palestinians and the Cubans you're always comparing yourself to some third world country that's not developed. This is what people do all the time, by the way, okay? There's some village in Africa where, you know, they don't have running water. I hear this story all the time. These people, you ever been to Africa?
Glad we have food.
You don't even know what you're talking about. You're comparing, you could always find somebody worse off to compare yourself to. When what you should be doing instead,
looking up,
is setting an example for all the people that are below you or side of you that are suffering, and say, no, man, we should be expanding and have prosperity in all times, especially in tough times. Most people just simply have the wrong target. Most small businesses in America break even or lose money because they have the wrong target. They're just like, I just want to make 70 grand out of my business. I want to own my business. I want to be the boss. The boss of what? You know? And so first thing we do is fix the target. What is the target? This reset is going to create massive opportunities. This is where wealth is created in very short periods of time. Anybody can get this wealth because the big money is going to sideline. It has to sideline because it's public. A little more complicated, but they're public, so they have to be careful. Okay, and you don't. You need to take risk right now.